What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to continue on with our Band-Maid documentary series, and we have done, let's see, Saiki, Konami, Akane, and now we're going to do MISA. And then we'll finish off with Miku, because we accidentally started Miku first, so we'll skim through the first one again just to refresh ourselves, and then we'll watch the second one. So that'll be the next video. But anyway, we're going to continue on with MISA. Let's do it. Boom.
じゃあ次はベースミサにしま
ミ
しょう
サちゃん。
ミサちゃんは1回目で言ってびっくりされるのはステージドリンクがウイスキーストレート。
本当にあの人酔っ払うんです。
He actually gets
本
drunk.
当に2時間とかはまあ長いとやったり
する
します
と
が、
結構後半はもう、フラフラという
Speaking of
か
which,
もう
ベロベロというか
ベロベロですぽね。出来上がりつつある感じですぽね。
あるかなって感じ。
まあでも
I guess it doesn't affect her playing
良く
too
な
much.
る。そう。ベ
Yeah, there
ー
you
ス
go.
の演奏が良くなるか
緊
ら、
張しいだったりちょっとするところがあるので、
ピュアだから
ピュアだからとてもバンドメイドで一番純粋な心を
そう見
持ってるの。
た目はね、
I could see that.
クールビューティ
He's the
ー、
quiet one.
アジアンビューティーな感じなんだけど、
海外からのね人気はすごいですよ
Oh
ね。
yeah, very
一
popular.
番ですね。
ミサミサってすごいコールが起きるぐらい。
だって怖い印象を受けるもんね、最初は
あんま
I think she stands kind of in stark contrast to the rest of the girls' bubbly personality. You know, Misa's over there just kind of not really much facial expressions going on, but she still kills it. That would be like one of the reasons why I would notice her, because of this, the difference of
ファンの
り喋ら
personalities.
ないからね。
そうそうそう
特に
そう、怖い
Yeah, there
人
you go.
だと思ってましたっていう
I thought
コ
she
メン
was
トよ
scary.
く見る。
ね、でも小学生みたいなねことですごい
ゲラゲラ
くだら
笑う
ないことでミサちゃん一番笑うし、
変顔もすごいする。
うん、もう一番そういうの大好きだもんね
大好き。
だから怖いとは一番真逆
真
に
逆です。
いる。
一番面白い人かもしれない。
そうだっぽね。バンドメイドの一番面白い人だっぽね、きっと。
With an introduction like that, I think we can figure out who's going to be highlighted in today's video. So today,
A little bit.
let's talk about MISA.
Misa.
MISA was born on October 15th in Okayama, a prefecture close to Osaka, and next to Hyogo, where Akane was born. According to her mother, she was an easy child to raise, as she used to play by herself. Even though she was a lively child, she always avoided dangerous situations and tried to act like an adult. She loved music and arts in general, but hated studying. And just like Konami and Akane, music
Does
has
anybody
been a part
like
of Misa's
studying, though?
life
Come
since
on
her early childhood, as she started to learn piano when she was around 4.
Wow.
In elementary school, she joined a brass band and played alto horn.
Hell
Right
yeah.
when she entered junior high school,
I love brass.
MISA moved to Tokyo due to family circumstances, and her temper changed a lot. She had a hard time fitting in with life in the big city and getting along with her peers from the same grade. She was also afraid to be judged because of her accent, which was different from the other children, and became more and more introverted. In 7th grade, she started to play guitar, but ended up joining a concert band in 9th grade, where she played the trumpet. Even though she did learn a lot of different
Hey, some of my friends growing up that are amazing guitar players now started off playing brass instruments, so I think it's just good to have that sort of musical foundation, regardless of what instrument it is. Obviously, the quicker you can start, you know, whatever you plan on staying with, the better, but I know a lot of people that turned out to be really great guitarists that started off on brass.
instruments. She kept learning piano for a few years. In high school, she played as a guitarist vocalist in a Keon club with a Fender Squier model that she bought. One day, an older friend of MISA asked her if she could join his band as a bassist. Until then, she'd never thought about playing bass. She started to play guitar and always wanted to play drums, but bass? it had never crossed her mind. MISA borrowed a bass and started to play, and even though it was difficult, she loved it and bought a Squier P bass immediately so she could give back the bass she borrowed.
No.
And one of the main reasons MISA got introduced to music at such an early age was that her mother listened to music all the time.
Awesome.
This is how MISA got to hear bands like the Red Hot Chili Peppers and The Who when she was still only in kindergarten. Her mother was also very supportive and helped MISA choose the right
Especially
school
for bass,
when she
Chili
hesitated
Peppers?
between university and professional college. MISA started a course on sound engineering in a professional college before changing to a bass course, as she didn't want to work behind a stage, but on stage.
I don't blame her.
As a professional bassist. Before talking about Band-Maid, let's take a look at MISA's past experience in the music industry. Except for small bands during her school years, MISA had been a member of a band named Prototype for 5.5 years, between 2008 and 2013.
It's a good experience, if nothing else.
Prototype was a small band composed of 4 members, and the band made at least 2 mini-albums and performed several live concerts. We don't have that much information, but it seems that they sold their CDs directly and not via music stores. They used to perform in and around Shimokitazawa, which is where MISA lived, and Shibuya. There is a review of one of their live performances which states that they sound like the Smashing Pumpkins and are appealing to everyone who loves Western music.
Smashing Pumpkins. I love Smashing Pumpkins, man. They're such a big part of, like, when you have like the soundtrack to your childhood, they are definitely a big chunk of it.
There is a review of one of their live performances which states that they sound...
Sorry, real quick story time that relates to music and Smashing Pumpkins. So in high school, I was teacher assistant to the band director. I was a drummer. Our band director was a drummer. And so it was basically a class where I would sit down and compose music on the computer and print it off, and kind of just like transposing like old music that's crumbling away. I'd transpose it on like Sibelius or Finale. Those are 2 music making programs that we used. And I'd also write stuff on there as well. But anyway, I just remember him allowing me to like take a little nap in his office sometimes, just a quick in between, because we had class right after that. We had full band right after that. So he'd allow me to kind of take a little afternoon nap. And I distinctly remember listening to a lot of Smashing Pumpkins while laying on his couch trying to sleep. Most likely, I think I did a couple times. I just like had a headache a couple days. It wasn't like an everyday thing, but a couple times I slept on his couch just listening to Smashing Pumpkins. All right, I'm rambling now.
Which is where MISA lived, and Shibuya.
It's about MISA, not me.
There is a review of one of their live performances which states that they sound like the Smashing Pumpkins and are appealing to everyone who loves Western music. The person who wrote this review also said that they couldn't stop smiling. It sounds like this band must have played some great music.
Yeah.
But that's not all. While she was playing for Prototype, MISA joined another band called
I wonder if there's
this band.
Well, sorry to keep pausing. I just wonder if there's any of that Prototype music out there, or some of those early stuff. Just to hear it.
Formed with 6 members who performed live several times before disbanding in October 2012. You can find 3 of their live videos on their YouTube channel. MISA and Akane
I'm gonna check that out after
met
this.
in 2012 as they were going to the same school, the Tokyo Music School. They connected immediately as instrumentalists and worked together on several projects. The same year, they made an appearance as actors in an MV of the singer-actress Becky with the song Yoruka Switch. In 2015, MISA, along with Konami and Akane, were at the 5th anniversary party of the idol band Predia in Zepp, Tokyo, as a backing band. You do remember the link between Predia and Band-Maid, right? There was a band called Mochi to Cheese made by Akane, Konami, and 3 members from Predia.
Oh.
All right. We are in May 2013. Prototype announced that they will disband in July, and Band-Maid posted an audition announcement on May 29th. The next month, on June 5th, MISA announced on her old account linked to Prototype that she's going to an audition.
Hey, nice.
Does this mean
I hope she
that
gets
MISA
it.
had the perfect timing to join Band-Maid?
Yeah, for real.
Let's see
It
how
was
she was
fated.
recruited. In another interview, MISA confirmed that Akane tried to recruit her into Band-Maid right when Prototype announced their disbanding. But Akane didn't know about this information, so she was bold enough to invite MISA to join another band. And it paid off. Now, MISA has said that she was in izakaya when Akane called her, and she was pretty drunk, so she had to take at least the night to think about it. MISA listened to the demo and found that the songs were proper rock music and cool. She was actually afraid that this band would be in.
I'm really curious what songs they let her listen to, because my thought would be that it would be some Made in Japan song, as that was their first album. But if you know, let me know.
Idol band. As she didn't want to stop playing bass, MISA quickly accepted the invitation to join Band-Maid the day after Akane talked
To
to
the
her.
lion in her belt.
So in the end,
That's random.
Miku recruited Konami, who was found on Nico Nico. And then Konami recruited Akane just after the restaurant she was working at closed.
Right.
And Akane recruited MISA just after her group disbanded.
Wow.
Wow. If that
This guy's
is
copying
not
me.
fate, I don't know what is. Now that MISA had joined Band-Maid, it's a new start for our favorite bassist.
It's almost like if they were like all close, you know, or like one person connected to the other person connected to the other to the other. It's like this nice long chain, but if it was like all connected together, it might not actually be the best people that you could find. I don't know what kind of other way I can phrase that, but anyway.
A new start, yes, but with one problem. The maid outfit. MISA was never into cosplay, so she wasn't used to wearing this kind of clothing. She felt really uncomfortable during the first live shows and with the first version of her outfit. It
Yeah.
was also around this time when MISA thought about quitting Band-Maid.
No.
It was during the first or second one-man performance, and MISA was already working a lot in addition to her work for Band-Maid, so she was in really bad physical and mental condition. She felt that the music she liked was too far from the music she played with the band, and started to think about leaving and forming a band where she could play the kind of music she liked. She talked to the manager, who proposed that she take a good look at the view from the stage at the Masters and Princesses and decide after that. Thankfully, the reactions and
Not bad
responses from the
advice.
crowd that day moved MISA deeply
But
enough,
you still
so she
should
chose
do what
to
you want to
stay
do.
with Band-Maid.
But maybe it helped
She
her.
was sure that this
It helped the
band
music grow
had
on her a bit,
great
maybe.
potential and could become way bigger. Time flies by, and we are at that moment where Konami is writing songs for the band. From world domination, but more in Conqueror and Unseen World, MISA actively participated in songwriting on her bass lines.
Nice.
And has felt more freedom since then.
That's what I was hoping would.
Konami gives out notes
keep
from
her
time to
in, you
time,
know?
depending on the song and what she has in mind. While writing music, MISA thinks more about what would serve the quality of the song rather than be sure that it's playable immediately. She
Right.
had difficulties recording some songs of Unseen World because of that, but she managed to get them recorded in the end by spending more time on the hardest parts.
Yeah.
And even if a song
That's
is
good, though.
really
That makes
difficult for her,
forcing her to
Lisa
get
will
better.
always practice enough so that she doesn't have to look at her hands while she's playing live.
Because if practicing does make you better, but if your practice is not a challenge, then you're gaining so little. You want to practice to the point where you can barely, keep up, and that's how you know you're gaining the most improvement possible. It's kind of being on the razor's edge, as they call it, whatever common sense, but just
Song
rambling.
is really difficult for her. MISA will always practice enough so that she doesn't have to look at her hands while she's playing live. For example, The first part of No God was written by Konami, and she asked MISA to write the rest of the song. At this time, MISA was learning bass and drum programming, so she wrote those two parts, including her solo. It was a new experience for her, and she had to send new riffs to Konami every week for Unseen World. And although she obviously sent her demos to Konami, MISA used to send them to another member, Psyche. MISA sent her work to Psyche to confirm that her bass line was easy to sing with, and also because Psyche praises her a lot. And MISA loves to be praised by Psyche when she's working on a new song. As she wrote in an interview, "I just send them to her without saying anything."
I wonder, maybe you guys would know, can shed some light on this. Maybe it's something I should already know, but I wonder which member of Band-Maid do they look up to, right? Like, who do they each kind of view as the leader of the band? My thought would be either Miku or Konami, given that Miku's kind of the stage presence, the sort of personality of the band, whereas Konami is the writer. You know, I would say she probably does majority of the writing. My guess is that it would be between one of those two, but maybe you guys can let me know. Like, from within Band-Maid's perspective, like, in their eyes, who is sort of the leader, I guess, would be
praised by Psyche when
interesting question.
As she wrote in an interview, "I just send them to her without saying anything in order to get praised by her. That's my source of energy. That makes me enjoy drinking better." What a great group of friends they are. There are two particularities regarding MISA when you see her perform on stage. The first one is that she never wears shoes when she's playing, with some exceptions on very hot days during outside performances, as the stage can get really hot. This is something she has done since the beginning of Band-Maid.
The barefoot assassin.
You can see her wearing shoes in some MV, but most of the time, she likes to play barefoot. She answered a question from a fan in 2014 on Twitter, saying that heels hurt her feet and are really hard to walk in, so she chose not to wear anything at all. MISA even ended up with the nickname the Barefoot Assassin. Why? Well, first of all, she plays barefoot. And during the Gold Rush interview, when the band was asked about the maid outfits, and particularly MISA's, which didn't look like a maid outfit, Miku answered that it's an assassin-made outfit. The second thing you'll
that's really how it
notice about
started,
MISA
huh?
is that
That's
she
cool.
always has a bottle of whiskey on her amp while performing live. And she even drinks in the MV of Don't You Tell Me. If you look closely at every performance, you can spot the bottle that she drinks during MCs. During the US tour in 2022, she even had her own opening ceremony where she opened a can of beer in front of her mic to make a loud sound, and the
Cheers.
audience really loved that moment. MISA used to open a can of beer or drink whiskey during MCs for a long time, and she even shared a bit of her whiskey with a fan in 2019 during a concert in the New York Mercury Lounge. She is thought to be the one
Pours it
who
up your
drinks the
nose like,
most,
"Oh,
but
God."
if you had a chance to listen to the Radio for Omesu-sama episode aired on August 1st, 2021, you would learn that they all actually drink a lot, except for Konami, who falls asleep before she gets a chance to drink. Despite her love for alcohol,
That's how I am. I
Lisa
get
tweeted
sleepy.
in May 2022 that
Get
she
energized at
realized
first,
that it
and then
was
it's
too much for her, and she
sleep
decided
time.
to be more careful in the future. And now it's time to.
Sorry, I missed that part because I am rambling.
Lisa tweeted in May 2022 that she came to realize that it was too much for her, and she decided to be more careful in the future. And now it's time to talk about MISA's playstyle. As usual, I'll let proper bassists present their thoughts to you on what they think about MISA.
Community time.
If you please.
So what makes MISA a great bassist? First of all, she went to musical school, so she learned a lot about music theory. You can see that in her playing. She's constantly moving around the root note, adding or removing note at the end of her phrases, changing the tone by going all over the neck and not just staying at the low end. She masters all the playing styles, finger style, slap, pick. She knows when to use them and always use the right one at the right moment. She can switch from one to another in a blink of an eye, like when she does her pick flip to switch from pick to slap. Her right hand work is so smooth and precise. It's mesmerizing. When it comes to her role in the band, she's a lead bassist. She can flawlessly jump from just playing the root note to taking the lead or providing an harmony to the vocals, and all of this in the same bar. There is no boundaries in her playing. That's what makes her so interesting and very inspiring to me. She's my favorite bassist, and I hope to hear her and Band-Maid for a lot more years.
It is often the case that the drummer and the bassist are kind of linked as far as, you know, what things to emphasize. All right, next guy. Kind of a challenge to understand the first guy, but
back about all of the bands that I've loved for many years. You know, so many great bass players. But when I think of the bassists who really excited me, or more importantly, the ones whose parts I wanted to learn how to play, I think they all have kind of one thing in common. And that's the use of the bass, not just as a tonal and rhythmic foundation for a song or that kind of glue that holds a band together, but they use the instrument as another source of melody and melodicism and musicality. And I think there are far fewer of those kinds of bassists out there.
It's more than just the rhythm section.
As a bassist discovering Band-Maid, where you have MISA, who's just constantly up and down the neck playing what aren't super complicated parts, but making these really musical choices about, you know, a note here versus a note here. She's in many ways a counterpart to Konami in that they're always expanding on a riff or adding new textures or new little motifs. You know, they may play something fairly straight the first time, but after that, forget it. And it's not, again, like the parts are super complicated or technically difficult. They're just really smart, or for me,
exactly, you know,
that they're really musical.
They might not be complicated or whatever, but they don't need to be, and that's the point. And to recognize that is something, you know, it speaks of you know, your mastery of it. You know, it's not about how complex things you can play, but to play the right thing at the right time, sort of thing.
How would I describe Misa's playing
Bjorn.
style? That's a tall order. What makes her special to me is her writing and her flawless ability to judge what to play and when to play it, without shying away from taking up space. She doesn't just serve the song, filling out the lower frequencies, locking up with the drums. She's actively creating a large portion of what makes the songs what they are. The groove, drive, momentum, anticipation, tension. It's like all her parts serve a purpose larger than just playing notes that work in the right tempo. She really adds another thick layer to the onion that is Band-Maid. One of my favorite habits of hers is
onions.
When she's having a bit of a bass solo during the guitar solo, as can be heard in Manners and Reincarnation, for example. It's so backwards to the old tropes about backing down during a solo, but it's always so tastefully made and never distracting. Rather the opposite.
Yeah, traditionally you want to give the solo space, but sometimes you can kind of reach in and help elevate it, you know, ramp it up.
She also has this ability to tap into what the other instruments are doing and create her own parts from that, seamlessly switching between what instruments to follow. A prime example of that can be heard in the second verse of About Us, especially in the live version. She starts out by establishing the groove with the drums for the first 3 bars, and then a fill during the 4th bar, setting herself up for the next 4 bars, where she gradually starts playing off the vocals. The first 2 bars by matching the vocal phrases subdivided by 16th notes, and for the second 2 bars, now the transition is complete and now she just plays a lower harmony to the vocals. After that, she immediately switches to locking up rhythmically to Kanami's octave climb for one bar. And then, for the last bar, she rounds everything off with a little fill of 16th notes, almost like a drum fill. All that during 10 bars. Her playing and writing is a big reason why I keep coming back to their music over and over again.
Sorry, I got distracted by this recording thing. It was slowly increasing in size. But I think I got the general sense of what he was saying. I mean, you know, she's providing a lot more than just the rhythm section.
Thank you very much for taking the time to share your experience and knowledge and your feelings regarding MISA's playstyle. I wonder what you, the viewer, what do you think of MISA as a bassist? I'm very interested to know what's on your mind.
I love it. That's why I'm here.
To the end of our journey. MISA learned to play a lot of instruments, and even though she knew which ones she wanted to learn, she ended up playing the one instrument she never even thought about. From the moment she picked up a bass, MISA never stopped playing it. She loves bass so much that she even switched courses to become a professional bassist and
Smart
live
move.
from her passion.
Very smart.
In the end, MISA ended up with Band-Maid thanks to the boldest move and the perfect timing. And Band-Maid is a band where everyone shines. Everyone has a moment in every song. We're used to seeing guitarists and drummers being highlighted, but bassists? That's not very common. How many bands
True.
that you listen to allow their bassists to really shine?
Chili Peppers.
I'm talking
Couple
about bands
bands.
with two guitars or a guitar and a piano.
Not many, though. I get the
I'm
point.
sure you can find some examples, but since its creation, Band-Maid has always found a way to allow MISA to find her spotlight. From thrill to influencer. Dice.
Yeah.
Or even manners. During live performances, introduced.
Yeah, that is a good point. Like a lot of bands, the bass gets buried. And Band-Maid, it's completely the opposite. I mean, it seems like each person gets their own due in Band-Maid, which is credit to the songwriting and just personalities and everything, really.
Using a song or to go crazy on a duel with Konami. Even though MISA's personality is mostly introverted, when she is on stage playing bass, she seems finally free and is having the time of her life. She even learned programming and participated actively in the songwriting process. Since she joined Band-Maid, MISA followed her passion to become a professional bassist and surrounded herself with the best group of friends who have become very close to what we can call a family.
Nice. Good job. Oh, Vlad.
Breaking new gate.
Nicely done. That was awesome. So yeah. MISA, the introverted barefoot assassin killer. So we're gonna next time, briefly go through part 1 of Miku, but the majority of the episode will be part 2 Miku. We've already watched part 1, but just to kind of refresh ourselves, I'm going to quickly skim through it. And, or maybe I'll just watch it off stream again, or, you know, something, just so I'm not, like, you know, being super repetitive over here. Or we could just watch them both. I don't know. I'm not sure what I'll do, but I'll at least try to recap on part 1 of Miku before we move on to part 2. But yeah, this was MISA. Freaking awesome. I just love how everything's connected in the band. You know, how they're kind of extend the offers to another person and to this person, and they just happen to find the perfect people, and how she exited her other band like right as Band-Maid was popping off and putting out their requests. But I'm not sure what else I have to say, really, so I don't want to just keep rambling. But yeah, so anyway, thank you all for watching. And if you want to check out this documentary on your own, I have a link to it in the description, as well as all the other Band-Maid songs I've reacted to. So if you want to subscribe, it's very much appreciated. Give the video a like if you want to. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you thought. It's all very much appreciated. Of course, you don't have to. I appreciate you just watching. If that's all you want to do, no worries. But anyways, thank you all again, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.